On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
This is The Voice Note.
The Voice Note.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The tragedy of Nigeria began in 1986 when we did the structural adjustment program. When we were persuaded to devalue our currency every week for 32 years. When I went to school, and many of you are here, the Naira was $1.50. The Naira was almost £1 sterling. They came here, persuaded some brilliant men from Harvard and the World Bank that weekly devaluation was wonderful. 32 years of devaluing your currency until we hit 527. And they were still telling us that the Naira was still overvalued. That brought poverty, misery upon us. Because every time you bring in a shipload of rice, you also bring in a shipload of unemployment. Because you are transferring your wealth to sustain other economies. Somehow, Nigerians didn't notice it. So we became a nation of importers. Import, milk, sugar, toothpicks, toothpaste, handkerchiefs, pencils, we don't make. Let nobody take it lightly. These guys have seized this country's economy, they've taken us hostage, and they have no intention of giving up. Because this is a huge market, a very sweet market, and they have taken control. These young boys and girls who have no jobs today are not going to allow us to carry on enjoying life at their expense. They need jobs. They need jobs. They are children. They've graduated, they've come back home to begin a second childhood because there's no factory to employ them. And the ministries can't take anymore. But somebody is making sure you fail. To cure Nigerians of that malady will take a while.
.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to Global Review, and today we're looking at the ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel put together by the Qatari government in collaboration with Joe Biden, the United States government, and all of this has to be done before the inauguration of Donald Trump. And we've seen that peace deal is supposed to ceasefire, I beg your pardon, is supposed to take effect from noon today. We're going to be talking about it in its entirety with my guest. He's still trying to join us. I don't know what happens to Abuja people. There's this curse of bad internet in Abuja. So all our guests, remember what happened to the minister some days ago? They always have bad connection. My guest is still struggling to join us via Zoom, and when he is able to do that, we will get into the conversation proper, but still waiting on my guest to join. I think he just joined us. But I want to start the conversation with a message from the UN Secretary General on this peace deal. I want us to take a listen to what Mr. Guterres had to say on this peace deal. And of course, while we're having conversations, you'd see how the situation is in Gaza right now. When I ask the question, what they're going back to, we're also going to see when the announcement was made yesterday. In fact, let me put that video up first. Gaza last night, when they heard about the ceasefire agreement, this was the excitement in the air. Of course, the people of Gaza were excited that they might be able to go home, back to something. I mean, for some of them, they have nowhere to go back to. But at least this is a view of what happened in Gaza last night. But here's the United Nations Secretary General and what he had to say about that peace deal. Take a listen.
Integrity of the occupied Palestinian territory, because Palestinian unity is essential for achieving lasting peace and stability. And I emphasize that unified Palestinian governance must remain a top priority.
Well, Martin Griffiths is the former UN Under-Secretary General for...
All right, so yes, that is what he's asking. He's mostly saying, let there be safe passage for the people of Palestine as they get ready to return home to what, well, they used to think was home. My guest has joined us. Dr. Katch Ononuju is here with us, joining us via Zoom. It's so good to have you, sir, and I wish they were under better circumstances. But we might look at this as something that's a little bit good, looking at all the killing that has happened in Palestine and Israel since October 7. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Lovely.
I would say the peace agreement is a good one to start with. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say you have peace. Well, we have to watch and see if that peace holds steady, because you're thinking about an area where we still have very unfinished businesses. And so it's one thing to say we have a peace agreement. The most important part is to have that agreement hold. And that's what we're all waiting for. So it's a good thing that we finally got to this point where Israel and Hamas have agreed to some kind of truce. So it is now in our place as members of the international community to manage that peace agreement and to also manage the ceasefire. And let's hope this will lead us to a final peace and cessation of the hostilities in regards to the gory killings that we've seen in that region for the past.
Let's get into some details. We got this off Al Jazeera and we're going to put it up on our live stream now. The first stage of this ceasefire deal, let me run through some of the information there. Israel's military will have to withdraw within 700 meters, that's about 2,297 feet inside Gaza. Israel will release about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life sentences. Palestinian groups will release 33 Israeli captives. Israel will also will allow injured people in Gaza to travel to receive medical treatment within Israel. Israel will have to open the Rafah crossing with Egypt 7 days after the start of the first stage. Also, Israel forces will begin to pull back from Gaza's border with Egypt, known as the Philadelphia Corridor, to withdraw from it completely in later stages. But then we also know that 44 more Palestinians were killed amidst that ceasefire agreement announcement yesterday. Who's to say that Israel is going to keep up its end of the bargain? And who's also to say that Hamas will keep up its end of the bargain? Let's start with this first few.
Well, that's exactly what I said in my opening statements. It's one thing for us to have the announcements of the ceasefire. The most important part of it is to get the ceasefire to actually hold in line with these agreements which you have detailed. So managing those things and getting everybody to hold on to their own part of the bargain, it's the real part of the work that the international community must now bring themselves to do. So the announcement of we've gotten to this point where there is some kind of peace is a good thing, but the most difficult part of it is managing the processes of getting these partners to actually agree to do their own part of what's expected of them to contribute to us to have a holistic peace.
Interesting. I was listening to the Foreign Secretary for the United Kingdom this afternoon when he put out a message, and that's David Lammy, and he was talking about he was also expressing the same sentiments that you're expressing about the fact that all parties need to hold up their end of the bargain, that as much as everyone's hurting, more children have been killed on one side, more people have been affected on the Palestinian side, as much as also the people on the Israeli side are hoping that their family members can be reunited with them. They themselves, the United Kingdom, the United States, and all other parties need to make sure that they support these two parties to one way or the other find a lasting solution, which will lead to a two-state solution. Let's talk about that two-state solution, which looks like something that nobody wants to hear, just like The guys in the UK don't want to hear anything about Brexit anymore because it looks like they made a mistake when they, took on that Brexit thing. But let's talk about this two-state solution.
Well, the two-state solution is what we believe should actually happen with the final status talks. We've seen it over the years, and Israel actually does not want the two-state solution, which I believe is the best way for us to actually have this peace. Having these periodic shootings into Lebanon or into Palestine, and then after you have, this truce, it really doesn't make sense. Let us think about having a two-state solution. I still go back to the words of President Trump. He says that he knows that Israelis like Mr. Netanyahu are not actually in favor of peace that will bring about a two-state solution. So let's keep that in our mind. That's what we should be talking about. The ceasefire is a temporary story. The most important thing is a holistic look that will actually guide us to a final status talks that will bring about a two-state solution. I am for it, and I don't see any way. The idea of thinking Israel could expand, take the Palestinian areas, move into East Jerusalem, East Lebanon, and probably take some chunk of Syria. Those things are just not going to work properly. It will not be proper. And I think those who have that long-term plots and plans should just perish it and let us work to get these people to live side by side with each other in peace, in harmony, and as neighbors. So I believe the final status talks that will bring about the two-state solution is what everybody involved in this should be thinking about, not this temporary truce. The truce is nothing without an honest effort towards a final status talk that will lead us to a two-state solution.
Let's talk about what I saw today. There are a group of people who are actually protesting against the ceasefire deal. There are a group of Jews who believe that, and I wish we could put that video on. Unfortunately, we can't. They believe, from reports that I've seen, I think I was watching Sky TV and I saw that, they believe that Netanyahu allowing for this ceasefire to hold sway shows how weak Israel is, and that Hamas is getting an upper hand, and they want the war to continue as long as they want it. And I really don't know how long they want this war to continue. And I'm trying to imagine why these people would be protesting against a ceasefire, knowing the kind of whether we want to start talking about the issues of war crimes that have been leveled against Netanyahu and his friends, the fact that Israel now looks bad in the eye of the world, because of how they've gone about this whole issue, the fact that also children and women have been displaced, in Palestine, making it a world problem, whether we like it or not. Why do you think people would want this war to continue, and to what end?
Oh, because of what I've just told you earlier. There are people in Israel whose thoughts are that the war shouldn't stop until Israel takes a large chunk of Arab land from the Egyptians, taking all of the Palestinian areas and moving into East Lebanon. This is what those people are thinking. But that's why I said, no matter how they think, Israel does not have what it thinks it has. Israel doesn't have the capability to drag, United States into a war it is not prepared for. Because if you leave Israel, they will drag Iran into this and force United States to actually come take Iran out. So there's a long-term plot by a lot of the warmongers in Israel. They do not think that Netanyahu should even talk about peace. No, they believe Netanyahu should go on, annex the Palestinian lands, annex Gaza, drive into Egypt, go into Syria, take East Lebanon, and then that is their dream of the greater Israel. And this is why they're not happy that Netanyahu could be forced into talking about peace. Netanyahu is forced to do this because he knows Trump's position about this is that Netanyahu, and to a large extent, those you see protesting in Israel, are not ready for peace at all. They don't, no matter what you tell them, they would not want peace with the Palestinians because their ultimate aim is to take over Gaza, take over East Lebanon, take over part of Syria, and of course, go into Egypt to actually create a greater Israel. I think that's wrong on the long term. Well, now that they've seen that the U.S. government is changing and Trump is coming, and they know President Trump's own mindset in regards to this is that he believes that the Israelis are very insincere about the talk about a final status peace. So they now know they cannot drag the United States into a war it did not plan to start bombing Iran. I think these people who are making this protest and are very angry about peace should actually go somewhere else. I do not think what they're trying to do is possible. You cannot bomb Iran out of existence. Don't forget, Iran is a very old country. It has existed from the days of Babylon. It existed through the days of the Roman conquest, through the Greek conquest, existed through the times of the First and Second World War. So why do you think you can suddenly end those places? No. Let us find a place. Let us find it in our ways to negotiate, to live side by side with the Palestinians, instead of thinking you can just take their land and then wish it don't exist anymore, and then go in to take not just the Golan Heights, but some more parts of Syria, and of course take East Lebanon and some parts of Egypt to now create a greater Israel. This is the plot these people have. That's why you see them protesting. They believe Netanyahu should not even talk about peace, but should go on and push for that final plot to create a greater Israel. I think this is wrong.
Okay.
I believe this is not sustainable.
So from what you're telling me, you paint Israel to seem like a bully, as a well, I'd like to call Israel a Jewish nation, not necessarily circular, because yes, of course, Israel does have Catholics. They have Jews. They have Muslims also in their country, but then they're predominantly Jews. For a Jewish country that is surrounded by Arab nations, you make them sound like a bully who literally wants to, displace all these people and take all of their land and live happily ever after. But then, of course, whether we like it or not, there are those who are also saying Israel has forever been aided and abated by the United Kingdom, by the U.S., and all of its allies, and no one has been able to speak truth to power about this land grab situation. But going forward here, let's start by looking at the possibility of living side by side. Children who have no limbs, families who've lost parents or lost children. Oh my goodness, I think that we've lost our guest there. But I'll still go ahead with my question. How do they heal? How do they move on? Because this is the question that I'm asking everybody. Where do they move on to? I mean, for example, in Palestine, we're going to run a video now, a clip of youngsters, in Gaza, showing us how bad the winds are.
More talk, news, and sports.
We'll be right back after this break.
Mama, they don't dash me 20,000 naira. Woof!
My pikin, who they dash 20,000 naira for this kind time?
They dash everybody will get smart cash account 20,000 naira.
You mean them go dash me 20,000 naira a wolf too?
Yes, so mama. That they dash all old and new smart cash users 20,000 naira a wolf.
Oh yeah, tell your yard people make them dial *939# or download Smart Cash app to open their own account. Make themselves enjoy 20k a wolf. Every time when you buy airtime or pay bills with Smart Cash, you go chop inside your 20k. Terms and conditions they shall.
I don't see my own a wolf. Oh.
Smart Cash, powered by Airtel.
Those things you can't have it all with one play.
I got that defined boy. You have just won yourself.
Congratulations.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Melitus. One player, don't talk to 2 players because you won 20k.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is Well Done.
Okay, well done. I want to tell you, well done. You won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira. You can play to win big from 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. Go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. And in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. Or dial *347 *880 *3#. Win daily on Nigeria Info. 50,000 naira on Morning Crossfire. 60,000 naira on WhatsApp Lagos. 20,000 naira on Sunnyside. And 60,000 naira on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember to dial *347 *880 *3#. Play responsibly.
Be confident.
Funny, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
So whether in the office or at home,
in the streets or on the dance floor,
anytime, any day, my is Wazobia perfume.
Absolute. Wazobia perfume gives the authenticity and long-lasting fragrance all day. That's my secret confidence.
Wazobia perfume is available in body spray.
Also available in supermarkets and markets near you. Wazobia perfume, the correct scent.
Mommy, you want to watch YouTube? Not my phone again. Every time YouTube. Oh, Mommy, you want to watch YouTube? You want to watch YouTube? Not with my phone. Go and watch TV. But there's no YouTube on our TV. That's before. With the new Airtel Smart Router, for just 25,000 naira, you can watch YouTube and more on any TV, even our own TV. Really? Yay! Thank you, Mommy. Oh, you're welcome.
Turn any TV into a smart TV with the Airtel Smart Router and watch Nollywood movies, football, and lots more on YouTube with unlimited data for 30 days. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Find amazing treats for everyone this holiday with Showmax. Celebrate like a champion with soccer.
Very well taken.
Find your festive inspo with our masters of style.
That's what I'm here for.
Embark on a fun-filled global adventure.
Here we go.
Share your love moments with family and friends.
My son, the most handsome.
And enjoy some truly royal spoils.
I want the power to control what happens in my life.
Only on Showmax, because everyone deserves a holiday treat.
When you have bars in the sky, onboard showers, and award-winning in-flight entertainment, it's no surprise that Emirates was recently named the best airline in the world. We fly you to over 140 destinations, and with partners across the globe, we connect you to another 1,700 cities across 6 continents. So when we say we're also the largest international airline, what we really mean is, if you're going there, so are we. Book now on Emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Auntie, you are enjoying, oh? Only you. Peppered rice, amala, nkwobi, masa, cake, and now ice cream. I hope you have Justifies on you.
Justifies? I never leave home without it.
That's right, Justifies, the new natural effervescent powder for an instant refreshing relief from heartburn and stomach indigestion. Just add Justifies into a cup of water, drink, and you're good to go. Justifies, your relief on the go. Justifies is from the House of Justeed. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Made and marketed by Ranbaxy Nigeria Limited, a Sun Pharma company.
You define better odd. I be you one play chorus cost. Over 1.5, I be you one bet. Say, both seem no go score at all. Oh, yeah, we get better payout. No worry, we there for you. Our odd, chapura out. In a day for bet baba. Free with money, bet baba. Cash out today easy, or bet baba. We get online games for you. To play, I got that one. Yeah. We get better bonus. Money me no Welcome to Bet Baba.
Register now on betbaba.ng. Not for people under 18.
Are you a business owner struggling with how you buy, record, store, and sell your products effectively? Look no further. Manage your processes smarter with Paybox 360.
Imagine receiving orders from multiple channels, whether it's web POS, offline POS, your instant web, mobile phones, or microsites.
Paybox 360 helps you stay ahead with automated reordering to restock effortlessly.
And there's more. You also get a free POS system for seamless transactions, built-in accounting tools to track your finances expenses effortlessly.
Whether you're running a supermarket, restaurant, chain of stores, or a single outlet, Paybox 360 gives you the tools to simplify operations.
Paybox 360 also offers powerful modules like HR management to automate payroll and offer employee benefits and spend management to track expenses and budgets seamlessly. Dial star 347 star 180 star 15 hash or call us at 00133-00172 today.
Paybox 360. Buy, store, sell, and succeed.
With Money Master, Nigerians everywhere can now open accounts, send, collect, save, and deposit money from anywhere and to any bank with any kind of phone. We can also pay bills, buy airtime and data for ourselves and our loved ones, and so much more. Just dial star 995 hash or download the Money Master PSP app today.
Money Master, the easy way to master your money.
Find amazing treats for everyone this holiday with Showmax. Celebrate like a champion with soccer.
Very well taken.
Find your festive inspo with our masters of style.
That's what I'm here for.
Embark on a fun-filled global adventure.
Here we go.
Share your love moments with family and friends.
My son, the most handsome.
And enjoy some truly royal spoils.
I want the power to control what happens in my life.
Only on Showmax, because everyone deserves a holiday treat.
Life's full of crazy moments that whisper, do you have the guts?
And when your body screams stop, but you need to go one more time, that's Dubai confidence.
Pitching a bold, out-of-the-box idea in a boardroom full of suits? That's Dubai confidence.
That's nervous hand shooting up to answer a question no one else dares to tackle? That's Dubai confidence.
Reaching for that skyscraper high jump? You bet! That's Dubai confidence.
That Dubai confidence comes from wearing the Dubai antiperspirant and deodorant with 48 hours all-round protection. Dubai, own your grind. Available in stores near you.
For 30 years, there's been a place where sweet dreams come true, where the air is filled with mouth-watering aroma of freshly baked goods, and where every bite tells a story. Welcome to Chocolat Royale, where every pastry is more than just a dessert. It's a tradition. From inception, we have produced a variety of sweet treats, breads, cakes, ice cream, donuts, muffins, cookies, and chocolate, to name a few. For 3 decades, Chocolat Royale has been the backdrop for countless celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, and every little joy in between. As we reflect on our journey, we are filled with immense gratitude for loyal customers like you who have been an integral part of our story. Your trust, support, and continued patronage over the years means the world to us. Thank you for making Chocolat Royale a part of your lives. We can't wait to share the next 30 years, creating delicious memories with you.
Good morning, my people. Now your pilot dey hail una. Today we get special passengers for inside plane. 3 Betano members they go England to go watch Aston Villa match live. Big congratulations to Emeka, Yemi, and Ibrahim.
Play with Betano and you will get a chance to enter UK for free to go watch the match between Aston Villa and Tottenham. Betano, now proud partner of Aston Villa. Play responsibly. Now only for people who don't pass 18 years. This promo go dey run from November 1st, 2024 to February 28th, 2025.
Anything I want.
Mama, they don't dash me 20,000 naira woof.
My pikin, who dey dash 20,000 naira for this kind time?
That they dash everybody will get smart cash account 20,000 naira.
You mean them go dash me 20,000 naira a woof too?
Yes, so mama. That they dash all old and new smart cash users 20,000 naira woof.
Oh yeah, tell your yard people make them dial star 939 hash or download Smart Cash app to open their own account. Make them self-enjoy 20k a woof. Every time when you buy airtime or pay bills with Smart Cash, you go chop inside your 20k. Terms and conditions they shall.
I don't see my own a woof. Oh.
Smart Cash, powered by Airtel.
Did you miss out on the I Beg to Differ online auditions? This is another opportunity to make history. On Saturday, January the 25th, the I Beg to Differ Secondary School Debate Auditions comes to life at the Nigeria Info Studio, 267A Etim Ian Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. Yes, Yes, I beg to differ. Secondary school debate auditions host the very first outdoor auditions at our studio right here in Victoria Island on Saturday, January 25th, time 8 a.m. This in-person audition is for secondary school students who missed the deadline of our online entry. If you've already entered the competition online, you don't have to come for the live audition. To register, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm to pick a topic for your live auditions. Click on the I Beg to Differ banner on the homepage. Carefully read the guidelines and choose a topic. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, time 8 a.m. Venue is Nigeria Info Studios 267A, Etim Ian Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. The debate of your life begins here. I Beg to Differ, the Tournament of Champions.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Hard facts.
All right, we're back. It's still Global Review on Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Maryann Okon. Dr. Katch and Ononuju is still here with us, and we're looking at the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. We're still looking at all of the things that have happened in between. 40 people were killed yesterday amidst that announcement of the deal. Today, there are protests rocking Israel, the Israelis who have coffins, right in front of them as they protest against the ceasefire deal. They want the war to continue. They want the fighting to continue. They feel that if this peace deal or this ceasefire goes through, it shows that Hamas has the upper hand. But before we went on that break, Doctor, I was saying there are children who have become amputated. We have families who've lost loved ones. There are children who no longer have families to go home to. They will be roaming the streets. And you know what they say about, idle minds. And whether we like it or not, there's terrorism lurking around the streets of Gaza and Palestine. Apart from that, there's that hatred that will continue to run through the minds of people, seeing how the state of Palestine lays in ruin. Whether it was perpetrated by Hamas or not, it will always be in the minds of these people that they have continuously been a target for Israel. Who's to say that later on, no matter how much of a treaty or an agreement is there, that more and more terrorists will not be bred in these kinds of circumstances?
Well, you say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. It depends on what you call terrorism.
Yeah.
You see, to the Palestinians, they know this thing as the Palestinian resistance. Now, to the Israelis, it is terrorism. Well, to the Palestinians too, what Israel tells you is actions premised on their right to defend themselves is terrorism. To the international community and some other people living in Europe, this is pure state-sponsored Holocaust, and I preach that for us to stop these recurring pictures of genocide, as some people will call it, we must make sure that President Trump pushes Netanyahu as hard as he can to be able to achieve a final status talks, which those you see today in Israel protesting do not see. A lot of them already believe that they were going to go so heavy, they will force the United States government into a war with Iran. But it looks like that is not going to happen. And because Trump is about to be sworn in, that's what you're seeing all this move towards peace. I also want to believe that the U.S. administration that is leaving actually believed in that strategy of creating a greater Israel. And that's why they grudgingly were supporting everything Israel was doing. And yes, the other time I heard you call it a Jewish state. I don't think so. Israel is an American military expedition in the Middle East. And that's
no, sorry. There are those who would totally disagree with you that it is a Jewish state, whether you agree with it or not. And calling it an experiment or a military whatever, an enclave of the Americas, there are also those who would go to history books and prove you wrong, Doctor.
Well, they can say anything in the history books. I will tell you something. Or if you say Jews, a lot of us are Jews. I'm a Jew myself. I am part of the original Sephardic Jews. And when we were scattered during the Arab conquest, and that's when you saw this issue of ethnic cleansings occur. What about us, those Sephardic Jews that are now scattered all over Africa, from Nigeria through Ghana to Ethiopia to the Sudan? You have the Jews all over. And we didn't just ask that this be done to us. The people now claiming to be Jews are the Ashkenazis who converted to Judaism from Catholicism in far Eastern Europe. So if you're talking about Jew, what about us who are also Jews, but were removed during the Arab conquest of that land? So if you're trying to recreate the Jewish state, of course, all of us who are Jews, most of us today in West Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh, my goodness. We've lost that connection with the doctor. Doctor, can you hear me? Apologies. I think that your connection has frozen. Yes, again. But I want to bring some of you into the conversation. Where are the Palestinians going back to? What exactly are they going back to? Where do they start to rebuild? I did also hear David Lammy, who is the Secretary of State. He's a foreign secretary in the United Kingdom. They call the foreign secretary. And he was talking about the fact that they have to start pushing aid out to the Palestinians to help them rebuild. And they'll need a lot, in rebuilding the Palestinian state. But my question is, if this is not going to lead to a two-state solution, if you rebuild and then destruction comes again, are we not just resetting and then doing it all over again? Well, I'd like to hear your thoughts, Lagos. Let's get into conversation. We have just 10 minutes before we wrap things up here. Unfortunately, Dr. Ononuju's connection is going in and out. But if you're watching, we want to put out, the 3 stages of the peace deal. We want to run it on the screen so you can look at it. And this is courtesy of Al Jazeera. The 3 phases. The second phase is if Israel determines the conditions have been met for a second phase, Hamas will release all the remaining living captives, mostly male soldiers, in return for the freeing of more Palestinians held in the Israeli prison system. In addition, according to the current document, Israel would initiate the complete withdrawal from Palestine. And finally, on the third phase, according to the draft, the conditions of the second stage will be met. The third will see bodies of the remaining captives handed over in return for a 3 to 5 year reconstruction plan to be conducted under international supervision. And then finally, there is currently no agreement of who will administer Gaza beyond the ceasefire. The United States has pressed for a reformed version of the Palestinian Authority to do so. In case you do not know, we're giving you an abridged version of what the phases of this peace agreement or ceasefire agreement would look like. But then, in asking the question of where are these people going back to, we're going to put a video up for you now to see the state of Gaza right now. So where are these people going to? 0201-277-0993. Hello. Welcome to Global Review.
Maryann, good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Robert.
Go ahead, 60 seconds.
I bless the nation of Israel. As they say, anybody that bless the nation of Israel shall be blessed.
Go ahead and make your thoughts. We're not doing any service here.
Maria. The peace agreement, I am not in support of it. Palestinians started this war. Maybe they don't test power now. You see, don't tell them for body. And they are now looking for peace agreement. The war should continue. For me, this war should continue. As it is written, no nation that will rise against that will conquer Israel. So Palestinians should prepare they should continue to fight. They should not back up. No peace agreement. It's a temporary one. I know even though they decide that they will still go back again. Yes, we know them now.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, Maryann.
Yes.
I just want us to remember that the people that are dying are not chickens. They are not birds. They are humans like us.
Okay.
So I'm not on any side of the divide. I'm only saying, let's give peace a chance. Now, my question is this. I don't know if your guest is listening, or maybe you can answer the question.
He's listening. He's on the phone.
Okay. Is there any way, probably in the later years, that crimes against humanity like this will be probed and people will be dealt with? I keep trying to wrap my head around all these killings. Is there any time, probably in the future, in the nearest future, where people will be made to account for this unwanted and gruesome death? Okay. That's my question, Maryann.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bully, for calling. Doctor, did you hear her question?
Come again with your question.
So she was asking that, is there going to be any time in history where these sorts of crimes against humanity, especially what's happened in Palestine, will be made for people to, account for it? I mean, even though there's a warrant by the ICC out for Netanyahu and his friends, I mean, will there really be a time for people to account for these crimes against humanity, she said?
Yes, it is possible for these crimes to be accounted for, but you need to have the muzzle to enforce it. So far, Israel does this believing that nothing will happen to them because the might of the United States and its insistence on a unipolar world seems to protect them. And that's why you see most people who are not happy with this kind of things and are asking for the institution of a multipolar world. And that's where you see BRICS come in, and that's where you see the Russia, Brazil, China, and India coming together to also form an alternative power bloc. And so these things, yes, are possible. Nothing lasts forever. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa, you will see that the French are having problem currently. So simply, nothing lasts forever. If after 400 years, the Europeans are having this kind of problem in sub-Saharan Africa, where suddenly their energy future is not secured, after the gas pipeline was blown up in Europe, and then they sought to now see the Nigerian gas coming from the east to become the alternative, passing through Algeria, through Morocco, through Niger, and they just can't have that. So what that tells you is, if before Europeans could hold down Niger, take their uranium, take whatever they have, and then suddenly now it's no more possible because of what's happened in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and Niger. That tells you nothing lasts forever. Okay. Nothing lasts forever. So what Israel is doing could one day become a topic for corrections, and that correction will involve a justiciable system that will then bring those who are committing this kind of war crimes to book. Yes,
Doctor, I want to put it to you that, when people talk about reparations here and there, whether it be the slave trade across Africa and several other issues, including, the occupation that, what happened to the Jews in Germany. When we talk about those reparations, most times it's just lip service. Nothing really, happens at the end of the day. Well, yes, maybe the Germans had to pay for some of the things that they did to the Jews when, they were in Europe. But aside from that, there's really nothing that anybody can point to say that this would be like an antecedent or something that they can reference points that would make them hold on to the fact that, in the future, the world would come to its senses and then decide that reparations be made and people pay the price for, these killings. So really, can people hold out hope? I mean, there are people who are even saying, continue this killing.
No. Listen, the Nuremberg trials happened. The Nuremberg trials happened because at the time when it happened, the Germans weren't as powerful as they were at the very beginning of the war. Nuremberg trial happened because America showed its might, and once that might forced Japan into succumbing into a surrender, the Germans also knew, and then they were arrested, and what happened? Nuremberg trial happened. So that's why I'm telling you, these things, if they are properly documented, before now, you hardly will see anybody at ICC raise their voice against Israeli actions. Before now, you will never hear me and you discussing this because we know it is totally out of this world. It is an impossible thing to happen. But look at it. We're not talking about it now. We're talking about it now because it actually seems possible. Nothing lasts forever. And that's what I'm telling you. So if at the beginning of the Second World War, Germany was as powerful as it was, but at the end of the war, they weren't that powerful because America now emerged and the Nuremberg trials happened. Who told you that it could not do that next time? Okay. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Don't forget that. Nothing lasts forever. At the time when the Arabs were very, very powerful, but at the end of the First World War, when they defeated the Arabs, what happened? The empire fell. The empire fell, and that's how the West were able to occupy Palestine. And later on, after the Second World War, they created the State of Israel. They couldn't have created that State of Israel in the old time when Istanbul was still very, very strong under
the Ottoman Empire. Yeah.
Oh, exactly, under the Ottomans. So now that the Ottomans fell in the First World War, what happened? Everything changed. This was a territory nobody would ever have. Who are the people who actually did that ethnic cleansing in today's Palestine, in today's Israel? It was those Ottomans. It's them. So when they did that ethnic cleansing, what happened? When the Americans came up, what did they do? They brought everybody to book. They seized that particular land where the Ottomans did the ethnic cleansing. They recreated Israel, forced it into play in 1948. Simply telling you, nothing lasts forever.
All right, Doctor. We have to go.
Yes.
Go on. We have to go. Unfortunately, we're out of time, and I wish we could have this conversation over and over again. But of course, we'll keep our eyes on Israel and Palestine and see how this ceasefire deal goes. Thank you once again, Dr. Katch Ononuju, for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much, Queen, for having me. I would always be available should we seek to recreate this discussion.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for coming. All right, Lagos, we have to go on a break. When we come back from that break, we'll be talking about pensions. Kolawole Oluwadare of Serap joins us. Of course, we're going to be following the money. In the meantime, David is here with some information for us.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to travel the best...
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio.